Well, I never really watched He-Man growing up. That was like before my time. I did watch it, a couple of times because I think it would come on the channels that I would watch. But so my knowledge of He-Man and the universe is very bare minimum, very base level normie. Still enjoyed it, I'm sure a lot of references just went right over my head. But it's got Nicholas Galitzine. He's Adam slash He-Man, and I thought he did a pretty good job. I haven't seen any of the other work that he's done, but I feel like he had a pretty good presence in terms of the character. The directing, I do feel like his character was a little bit too goofy at times. Again, kind of with that Thor comparison, like when the stuff's going down and he's kind of still playing that like childish, like up like silliness and stuff. It's like, okay, there were times where you could lock in. I know, considering like how you were raised or not raised, because the movie kind of has like a Superman opening where his home planet, his home world, gets attacked by Skeletor, who's played by Jared Leto, and his family essentially sends him through this magic portal with the power sword, and he ends up on Earth. It's only different in that his home world doesn't get completely destroyed; it just gets taken over by Skeletor, and his parents get locked up. And yeah, I heard a lot of complaints about the Earth stuff, but it honestly didn't last that long. It was probably like 10 to 15 minutes, and then he was already going back to Eternia. The Earth stuff was fine. I'm not really a fan of movies that take you from, especially like video game movies. That's like all they do is the person from the video game world comes to our world and it's all quirky and fish out of water, and then eventually they go back or the two worlds merge. And but I think it's fine because I think in the lore they were talking about how Eternia is like the heart of the universe or something, so that implies that there is a reality where there is an Earth somewhere out there. So it makes sense that he would end up out there. But again, it didn't last very long either. So by the time it would get annoying, it was kind of over, and he was already going back to Eternia. It's got Camila Mendes as Tila. I don't know if I've seen her in anything, but she was good. Idris Elba is Duncan slash Man at Arms, and he was really good. And I feel like Idris Elba, he does a lot of pop culture movies, does a lot of like nerd stuff. And there was even a point in the movie where I was like, he is so lost in the role. But again, he's just a really good actor. But he pulled off, his character was kind of a mix between Deadshot. Well, I don't know. Suicide Squad was basically a comedy, so yeah, Deadshot. It was kind of like a Deadshot in terms of like his mannerisms and kind of the things he would say. And I thought he was just good all around. And yeah, the Jared Leto stuff, I know a lot of people don't like Jared Leto. I'm not gonna sit here and defend anything that he's done or whatnot, but he is Skeletor the entire movie. So it's not like he's Jared Leto and then he gets turned into a skeleton or whatever. He's just like that the whole time. And I think honestly, if they didn't tell you it was Jared Leto, you would not know, because it doesn't sound like him. Obviously, doesn't look like him because he's freaking jacked. And yeah, Skeletor. What I remember from the cartoons is he is a little over the top, a little quirky. He can still be menacing, but he's kind of a dork sometimes, and they do play into that. There's times where he's like overdoing his laugh, and all of his minions are like, should we laugh or should we just stand here? And it's just, some points get a little ridiculous, but it doesn't get overdone to the point where I was like rolling my eyes the whole time. Alison Brie is Evil Lynn. She's like the evil sorceress that works with Skeletor. She didn't really bring much to it, honestly. I like Alison Brie, but her role was kind of just like generic magic wielder. She was kind of doing like a generic witch's accent, which I'm sure they wanted her to play it up a bit, like it wasn't like the cartoon. But yeah, she was fine. Her scenes were okay. Again, she was probably the most hammed up character in terms of like her voice and stuff like that. Because you have her, and then you have Morena Baccarin, who is the sorceress, who is essentially like an evil, or not evil, like the good version of her, because she's like the protector of like the power sword and Grayskull and whatnot. And I feel like she did good. She didn't do it over the top. She still played into that mythical, magical being without hamming up the voice or the lore or whatever. So I feel like they let her do some good work. I feel like Alison Brie, it was probably just a direction note to have her ham it up or whatnot. Kristen Wiig is in this. I didn't know it till I walked out, but she plays Roboto, who is one of the characters. But they show up like halfway through the movie, so I won't get too much into that. But overall, the cast was pretty solid. The action was cool. There definitely were a lot of moments where I was like, "Oh, CGI," but again, it didn't really take me out of the movie because a lot of it looked great. It had $170 million budget apparently before marketing, and it made like 54 worldwide. So I don't think we're gonna get a sequel to this movie. You know, there's a couple post-credit scenes. There's 3 of them, and they're clearly trying to set up a sequel. But I don't think that's gonna happen at this point, unless they want to throw some more money into the fire. But the fact that this one didn't do that great, maybe it'll be like a Dungeons and Dragons movie where it didn't do great at the box office, but then it had a really good fan following once it came out on streaming. Because I didn't see it in theaters, but I watched it at home. And I'm not a D&D person, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how they, they catered to the hardcore fans, but they also let us noobs, come into the world, sprinkle us some of those inside jokes. And, I hope that it might have a better, at-home viewing, and maybe they get some money back in, like, physical merch sales, Probably won't be a lot, but if we do get a sequel, I'm curious to see where they go with it. And yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. It's just a little under 2.5 hours, and towards the end, you kind of feel it. There definitely were points where it could have been shaved like a 10-15 minutes, but at the end of the day, if you grew up watching He-Man, you probably got a kick out of this movie. It's got good action, it's got cool sets, and Eternia looks cool. Hopefully, in like a sequel, if they manage to get one, they explore more of those other worlds, because it takes place mostly like Castle Grayskull and like the main area. But at the beginning of the movie, they go through. It's like there's like some lava fields and some volcanoes, and then there's like ice fields and stuff. So hopefully they expand Eternia. And if they do a sequel, hopefully they don't go back to Earth, because there really wouldn't be a reason to now that Prince Adam is back on Eternia and all the stuff that happens. So yeah, if you do a sequel, no Earth. Stop it. But yeah, I think I would give this movie like a 7 out of 10. It was pretty solid. Some overused comedy, some bad CGI, a little bit long, but overall, really enjoyable. And I can recommend it to any He-Man fans, or honestly just any kind of sci-fi action movie fan. It was cool to see in the theaters, but I'm sure if you watched it at home, you'd probably still enjoy it just as much. So yeah, let me know down below. Did you see Masters of the Universe? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. Hit the like button. Subscribe. Peace.